What's up, man? It's Coach AJ Lew here, and today I want to do a little quick book review, man. This book is called The 50th Law. It's by Robert Greene, and he features 50 Cent, the rapper, Curtis Jackson, and on the back we have this little saying. Let me see if I can read it. Nihil temendum este, and it means fear nothing. Fear nothing. And yeah, man, I want to start doing these book reviews because I think people can gain some value from it, and that it can really help out, just in case you don't have all the time to read or do all that shit if you're a slow reader or whatever. So, man, this book, if you haven't read Robert Greene before, man, Robert Greene is a beast when it comes to, telling stories throughout history of how particular things, right? Particular characteristics or ways of thinking have proven to be powerful in people's lives. Some of the other books he's written is Mastery, which is all about how to become a master of something. He's written the Art of Seduction, which obviously you know what that's about. And then the 48 Laws of Power, which is probably my favorite book of all time. So the 50th Law, man, this book is all about being fearless, right? And in the book, he talks about, fear controls most people's lives. And the reason is because we have like these three parts to our brain, right? We have our lizard brain, and then we have a little bit more developed brain, and then we have our prefrontal cortex, which is like our current brain that allows us to rationalize and think things through. But what happens is our lizard brain is the oldest part of us, right? It's the oldest, the least evolved part of us as human beings. And before, we used to have to run from freaking saber-toothed tigers, right? We hear a sound, we're in danger to die, right? But now, that same part of our brain goes off when we're a little scared. Like if we got to go talk to a stranger, that same part of our brain sets off an alarm, just like there was a saber-toothed tiger standing there, right? And our heart rate goes up, and we start to breathe short and shallow and in our chest, and we're just all over the place. And so that's all. It's basically made us a bunch of poons is the easiest way to describe it, right? We get scared at stuff that really has no realistic outcome. But the thing is, man, he talks about a lot in the book, but there's two key takeaways that I had from the book, and they're powerful, and I would encourage you to go read it, but I'm just going to tell you these two key takeaways so that way you can take a little bit of something away from this video. So number one, you have to be fearless. And you have to, when I say fearless, or when Greene says fearless, what he means is, he doesn't mean just like, pretend to be bold and pretend to be this tough guy and all that shit, right? That's not what he's talking about. When he says fearless is like in the face of danger, when you are scared, lean into that fear, right? Whenever you feel a gut feeling of fear, that's telling you that you need to go forward in that direction, right? It's telling you that this thing that scares you is in between you and your goal, is in between you and where you want to be. And, conquering your fear isn't just like external things, right? A lot of times it's internal, right? Sometimes we're scared to be ourselves. Sometimes we're scared to say the things that are on our mind. Sometimes we're scared to disassociate from friends or family members or people that we think we might hurt. But in order to get to a place of success, in order to reach your goals, you're going to have to do things that are uncomfortable. You're going to have to cut people off. You're going to have to play some power moves, right? You're going to have to say, fuck that, bro. This isn't up to you. This is up to me. And all those things are going to happen in order for you to reach your goal. And it's about being fearless, right? It's about being not only fearless, but bold and courageous. Enter action with boldness. Instead of just being passive, be aggressive at times, but also be smart and know when to back off and know when to press forward. It's almost like the game of war, right? You got to be a smart general for your life. So that's one principle that came from the book. The other thing, man, it's like the last chapter, and it hit me. It says, accept our own mortality, right? Accept our own mortality. And here's the thing, man. We're all going to die, right? I'm going to die. You're going to die. And a lot of people dance around it. A lot of people, are uncomfortable by it. In the books he talks about, we're so desensitized to death because, we see it in movies and we see all this stuff happen. We see the news, but it's not like real. It's almost like we're separate from it because we're seeing it on this TV screen and it's not really connected to us. But we are actually going to die. It's actually going to happen at some point. There's no way around it. That's part of human being, right? The beauty of being alive, it comes with the ending of death. It's just no way around it. So what he talks about, and the great thing, the big thing with 50 Cent in this book is, if you don't know, 50 Cent got shot 9 times, and he almost died, but he pulled through. He lived. And he said after that moment, he was no longer scared of dying, right? He was no longer scared of death, because most of us as human beings, our biggest fear is dying, right? Everything we do is to keep us alive. And so what Greene talks about is if you can play through your mind and actually, think about different ways you might die, and like, it's going to scare you at first, but to push through that and actually accept your mortality in your mind, it gives you power over death. And that was powerful to me, because basically what it is like, if you're no longer scared of the scariest thing that can happen to us as a human being, then you can be yourself. You can become yourself, because anything else that happens is less than that, right? So it's almost like unlocking a key to freedom, the freedom of being you, the freedom of taking risk and accepting challenges and going forth with all you got. Because at the end of the day, we're gonna die, and you've already accepted it in your mind. And I know it's tough, man. I know sometimes I think about it and it gets uncomfortable. I get chills, and like, it's just like you get those heebie-jeebies, right? But the more you do it, the more you think about it, the more you really accept it, right? Accept it. Well, then it puts a fire in your ass that you don't have forever, right? Your time is limited. My time is limited. And the more we can press forward each and every day towards the things we want to accomplish, the better we'll be, when that day comes. There's a poem by this old Indian chief, Chief Tecumseh, and it says, when it comes your time to pass over the great divide, be not like those who wish they had more time, right? Sing your death song like a hero going home. And what this means is, don't live your life today as if there's always a tomorrow, because when that day comes, when there is no more tomorrow, you're going to wish that you had taken advantage of the todays, right? You're going to wish that you had done those things that you always wanted to do, that you promised yourself that you would do, that you promised your loved ones you would do. There is no better time than right now. And you gotta also be stoic at the same time. And I know I've learned a lot about stoicism, but in the book he tells me something that I never knew about stoicism. And he talks about stoicism. I forgot the guy's name. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. But this guy wrote about, living a life where, you die with like honor, die with, you die a great death. And the guy ended up getting killed, right? He got killed. I can't remember if he got burned at the stake or something like that. But even when he was getting killed, right, as painful as it was, they made him commit suicide. They made the guy kill himself. The guy that coined the term stoicism, they made him kill himself. And as he killed himself, it was like a slow, painful death process. But the whole time he remained cool and calm. And regardless of how much pain he was in, he just accepted it. And he showed no emotion. And he just stayed in it. And what it is stoicism is about dying a great death, right? Is about dying not with regrets, not with pain, not with, hatred or any of that stuff. It's about dying the right way. And I don't want to say that, you should live your life to die, right? But, when we think about legacy, when we think about accomplishments, when we think about what our life stood for, right? If it was always about fear, then you're going to die with regrets, right? And so how can you be fearless, right? How can you be the type of person that overcomes your fears, that does the things that scare you, that isn't scared to be yourself regardless of who you're around, that isn't going to let your true personality be pent up because you're scared of being judged by other people, right? Remember, fear nothing. Fear nothing. And so I hope you enjoyed this book review. Super powerful book. I would advise you to read it or listen to it on Audible, whatever way works for you. But this book is awesome, man, along with all of Robert Greene's other books. And I'm going to start doing a book review about once a week, just for people that don't have time to read or just want to hear some cool ideas that maybe you haven't heard before, or maybe that you just haven't had the time to check out. So hope you enjoyed it. I will definitely be seeing you later, and I'll talk to you then. Peace.